What is up, takers, and welcome back to Size Take Today Live. We do this every Thursday and Sunday, 6 p.m. Eastern. Currently live streaming on both Facebook and YouTube. Episode 35 already. That is crazy to think about. But you already know how we start each episode. First, I do want to say a quick shout out to my mom. For those that have been following, she's been in the hospital since the end of February, but she's making progress and should be transitioning to rehab currently. So thank you guys so much for the support and love as always. And for those of you that may know, she is my main supporter, my number one, my worlds, my everything. And usually she's watching the lives and sharing it all over her social media. So shout outs to my mom. She thanks everybody for the love and support. And she's ready to get home so that she can catch up on all the episodes she's missed and all the interviews. So like I said, thank you for my family and myself, for those that have been checking in and following. And coming up on tonight's show, we are talking to first tax and wealth strategist Andre Bell. So we're talking everything income to impact. We're talking about protecting your bag, building generational wealth, and of course, really shifting and changing that money mindset. I know that sounded like a perfect introduction, right? Come on now. So then followed by our second guest, we are talking to creative film, video, music, philosophy, all things visual, Karl Kingson, about his newest project. So super excited to have the opportunity to chat with both of our guests. And I'm going to go ahead and let you all know where to follow us online really quickly. And then we're going to dive into our first interview. So Instagram at It's Ties Take Today, Facebook.com/at It's Ties Take Today. We try to keep it real simple for you all. We're continuing to increase our YouTube audience. So be sure to subscribe, hit that bell notification button on YouTube at It's Ties Take Today. And then, of course, keeping it old school, TiesTakeToday.com for those that want to check out our website as well. Also, if you're watching and you have questions for our guests this evening, questions for myself, or you just want to let us know where you're watching, like I said, you can share your take and perspective. Let us know where you're watching from, both on Facebook and YouTube. All right. Dang, I'm out of breath already. But joining us now is our first guest, Andre Bell. What's going on, Andre?
Good evening, everyone. I'm having an amazing day. Glad to be here. Thank you for having me. I will continue to keep your mom in my prayers. Her situation continues to develop and get better. Because as you know, our words, everything that we speak is our future. So I speak healing and wellness over your mother and your life for continuous moments. So
Absolutely. Much love and appreciation. Thank you for that. And I really want to just introduce you to our audience. And if you don't mind, can you walk us through your financial journey and what really sparked your interest in financial literacy and then building wealth overall?
all right, yeah. So starting out, I'm born and raised in Detroit, Michigan. I was an inner city athlete who excelled both in the classroom and on the field. And for me, it was more so not having those connections to people who could put me in different in the right places in the right rooms. You gotta rub elbows. You gotta learn politics. And my family, I come from two different blended families. We were trying to merge two families together, and it was hard. And one thing that was the missing bridge was definitely finances. I my mom made sure that I had the education piece. She put me around in different aspects and different educational systems. I was in 4 or 5 different public school systems just to get the best education for myself. However, when I moved different educational systems, the social classes were different. And that was something that for me, I kind of fell to the bottom of the social totem pole. And I was like, ooh, okay, like these kids are, they're having the freshest Jordans and the nicest clothes. And man, I'm just here because I'm smart and I'm good at baseball. And so, I got to an age where I was like, okay, something has to change. I watched my mom kind of hustle and work 2 jobs. And I was like, well, that can't be it. I can't be the end all be all. She's still not making it. So what else is there? And that's a biblical principle, knock and the door shall be open, seek and you shall find. And I was just curious to know how to build wealth, how to make money, and not just how to make money, but how to keep the money that we make. Because oftentimes we know how to make money. But it's what we do with our money that either keeps us in the same situation or changes our lives and our legacies for 7 generations.
Absolutely. So for you, what were some of like the early lessons on when it comes to money that you learned growing up? And then how did those lessons shape your money mindset presently?
Um, so for me growing up, like money was very like situational. We had money this week, we could do We could do a little things, we could get a little bit better. But the next week, we were kind of penny pitching. So learning how to make your income stretch, because your income is your number one wealth building tool, and understanding how to utilize your cash flow. It's an acronym that I use, and it's called FOCUS, and it's faithfully organizing your cash flow for unstoppable success. And your cash flow is the amount of money that you don't spend. So you bring home money, you have income, and the money that you spend, your expenses. What's left in between those two amounts is your cash flow. And what you do with your cash flow is ultimately going to make your life up. Either you spend it, you go and buy some, leisure things or some things that feel good in the moment, or you put it in some different places that make it grow. So that's what I learned, and that kind of shaped me to figure out, well, what else? What can I do with my money? How can I make my money work for me in my sleep? That was my dad's biggest phrase. He was like, "You have to find a way to make money in your sleep." And I'm like, "How am I going to make money in my sleep if I'm not doing anything?" And it was learning how to leverage your money to be able to make more money on top of it. And that's what shaped my money mindset today. Finding different creative ways to create passive income.
Absolutely. And now for you, how do you define a healthy money mindset, and what are some of the daily practices that you use to maintain that mindset?
Mm. A healthy money mindset is someone who prioritizes the plan, prioritizes the future. Oftentimes we see ourselves living in the now. We always want to go on trips and enjoy life, enjoy what we have, and enjoying life is perfectly fine. Don't get me wrong. I'm not telling you to enjoy life, but I am telling you to prioritize your future life over your present life. You have to deny yourself today for the life that you want to live tomorrow. And oftentimes we get so stuck on where we are today. We like, oh my goodness, I want this now. I want this now. But if you set a goal to want something better, it just pushes you to work harder today to achieve exactly what you want. Because when you have a goal-based mindset, it really makes you want to get up. Okay, I have to do X, Y, Z. I have these large goals. Well, how do I break that down? And it should be the same with our finances. We go and buy $60,000 and $70,000 cars, and it's really not the car we want. It's just a car that looks good to us and it's appealing to us, but it's not the car we really want. We know we want a $300,000 car, but we can't set time aside to work on that goal. We just are happy with having a $60,000 or $70,000 car, and that's just an example. I'm not saying
Absolutely. And then what is your approach to budgeting? Like for you personally, are you a strict tracker, like down to the T, or are you more of like a value-based spender?
So I practice a modified version of the 50-30-20 rule. So 50 goes towards your needs. So that's like your bills, all your living expenses. 30% goes to your savings and investments. And if you really want to break that down, you can go 15 and 15. And then the 20% goes to what you want to do. And most people do 30 and 20 the other way. So 30% goes to what you want, and 20% goes to your savings and investings. But that's 10% and 10%. If you really are goal based and trying to build generational wealth, then my focus is investing. My focus is putting something away to grow for the future. So I'm going to put more into that category than I am going to put into what I really want to do today.
Absolutely. And then, working in this industry, what is like the biggest myth that you think people believe about wealth, or like people who fit the tax bracket of like the more wealthy type of people?
The biggest myth is people think they need a lot of money to work with a financial advisor. And that couldn't be further from the truth, because a financial advisor is someone who is here to help you achieve your goals. If you know you have goals and you have a vision of your life, it doesn't matter about how much money you have today. It's about planning for this multitude of wealth that you're walking into, because you're already manifesting it with the correct mindset. So you have to expect abundance. But if you don't plan for the abundance, when it walks into your life, you're going to do the same thing with it that you've been doing.
Absolutely. And then I know we talked about protecting the bag early on during the introduction. So especially like in today's economy, what are your top 3 non-negotiables when it comes to protecting the financial bag?
Ooh, top 3 non-negotiables. I have to say first is life insurance. I am at a young enough age to where I was able to secure life insurance for myself and my mother and my grandmother. And I'm blessed to be able to set my family and our generational up for success because of having the power of life insurance. It's a risk analysis game, and you got to understand that if you can get it early on in life, you ultimately will pay less on insurance than you do if you wait until you're 50 or 60 years old trying to get life insurance. That's the easiest cheat code. The easiest way is to pass down 6 figures. Listen, my boss tells me something. None of us is getting out of here alive. Okay, none of us are getting out of here alive. So if you're gonna bet on something, bet on that. Okay. The second thing would be to have a trust, have a will, have a plan in place for when you're not here. And then the third is taking action today. Most people continuously say that, I'll do it tomorrow, or I'll do it next week, or I'll figure it out next year, next tax season, my next tax return, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. Speaking of, I have a question for you, Tyler. Do you know what the perfect tax return is?
I do not.
The perfect tax return, people think gets a lot of money back from the IRS is a great thing. Well, actually, the perfect tax return is actually $0.
Hmm.
Because if you notice on your tax return, next to the amount of money you're getting in the refund, it has the word overpayment. This is money you could have had throughout the year to invest, to grow, to put in a high yield savings account that you overpaid the IRS. Why are we overpaying? They have enough money. Why do we give them more than what's needed? And that's why we have to make sure that we're in a perfect tax situation, that we're in a great financial plan, because they ultimately go hand in hand. Planning different investment accounts is how you maximize on your tax savings. And listen, if you guys need help with any of this, my office is based right here in Southfield, Michigan, and we are willing and hoping that we can interview at least 500 new families. That's the plan, 100 new families to come in that we can help with their tax strategies, financial planning, whatever you need financially. Our office is here to help.
Awesome. And we'll be sure to include your guys' information in the description and on our social media platforms as well. With the rising prices and, tariffs, and it seems like eggs and the cost of living overall is just increasing, especially now. How do you recommend that people out there, safeguard themselves from lifestyle inflation as they get to a point in their career where their income may be increasing?
That is by far the hardest trap that most people fall into. They start making a lot of money and they start spending a lot of money. But again, as we talked about, cash flow is king. The amount of money that you have that's not tied up in your expenses is how you set your family up. So the more times that you go and spend that on leisure things or things that feel good today, or the most doctors they spend 8 to 12 years, and athletes. And my heart goes out to athletes because 78% of athletes end up broke. And I was an athlete, and that was a driving force as to why I wanted to learn more about financial literacy, because there's no way that most people that look like me, who are talented, very talented on the field, end up broke. You made millions of dollars. And see, I had to think about it. Most athletes, it takes them 18 to 20 years to ever receive any income from a sport that they've worked hard in. And it's the same for people who go into like dental school or trying to become a doctor. It takes them 12 years of education to then go and possibly make $300,000. And it's like the moment you get that money, you don't think about the amount of money or time that you've invested into this point. You just think about the fact that I just got paid. What can I do with this money? Not the fact that I have mountains of debt that I'm trying to chew through. And then I go and buy $100,000 car. I go and buy the biggest house, $500,000 house.
Or take that nice vacation.
Right? And now I'm stuck further behind this ball, this chain of debt. And debt is the heaviest marketed product, and unfortunately.
And for you, working with different clients and different families, what is like a common mistake that you see people make with either their emergency funds or just insurance coverage and different insurance options in general?
Not reviewing their plan often. Oftentimes we set it and forget it. Auto pay is becoming a thing to where they're taking our money, we're not even recognizing it. Our money is consistently flowing in different directions, and if you don't assign $1 a place to go, you'll wonder where it all ran away. You look in, you get paid, and all right, I got money today. And you look up tomorrow, and it's like, oh, I had money. I don't know where it went. It's because we didn't assign $1 a place to go. So, I mean, especially with today's the way prices are, everything, we have to be way more strategic with our planning and our budgeting, how we spend our money, where our dollars are going. Check your subscriptions. Multiple people end up having multiple subscriptions in the same household, right? And try and minimize that. Try and free up some money if you have. I know they kind of discourage using the same Netflix, across different households, but try and find different ways to try and save on what you're spending every month.
Most definitely. I think reducing the wide range of subscriptions and different plans that are out there for sure. I know you had talked a little bit about generational wealth. What does excuse me, what does generational wealth mean to you beyond just money? And for people out there that may have yet to start this process with themselves or their families, what advice would you give to somebody out there that may be watching this today?
So to me, and when we think about like generational wealth, yes, we think about assets that we give to our next generation, but it's also about the plan that we give them. Each generation we are tasked with making sure that the next generation has it a slight bit easier. They have more of a head start in life than we did. Our parents wanted us to go out and do more things than they did, and you're doing it. And my parents are proud of me, and I know your parents are part of the work that you've done. So I think our process now is just to make sure that the next pieces in the puzzle, they get a little bit more, right? They add one more piece to their puzzle before they have to stumble with their head and figure it out. I have a younger brother who just turned 19, and I try and give him all as much information as I can because he's just now getting exposed to different finance. He started making some money. He's bought a car. He wants to do all the modifications to it. I'm like, listen, the money you make today, what you do with that money is going to set up your next 20 to 25 years of your life. Be mindful about that. So it's really just making sure that they have a plan, not just with the money, but with their life to make sure that no matter what they do, they're on a track to success. And there are different laws and psychological, universal laws that play a part in making sure that someone's successful, but making sure that they have an easier road.
Most definitely. And, when we talk about money and mental health and just stress overall, I feel like money and mental health have a direct relation with each other. How does financial stress show up in, our lives mentally or emotionally? And what advice would you give to someone out there who may be feeling just overwhelmed by debt and, maybe like, I don't even know where to start?
Well, I'll actually drop this tidbit on you. Finances are the number one stressor in the number one stressor in America. It destroys so many relationships. It's the number one reason for divorce in America. Like there is no way around it. But the only way to get through it is to talk about it. Oftentimes we are just so afraid to talk about our financial situation. We don't want anyone to know our business. We don't want to talk about where we are. We have this shame, right? That we should be in a better situation. That I went to school. That I should know better. And it's okay that you don't know. It's what we don't know that's destroying us, though. But when you don't know, you can't just put the cover over your head and say, I don't know, and I'm not going to figure it out. No, we have to then say, okay, I don't know. Where can I go to find help? How can I address this problem? Because if you don't address it, it will continuously stress you out more and more. It continues to play a part on your mind, on your physical being, and it's. I'm telling you, it will destroy you from the inside out if you don't address the situation.
Absolutely. And my last question for you, Andre, before we jump into our quick game of rapid fire, looking ahead, what legacy do you hope to leave through your financial education work and wealth building efforts?
When you ask me what legacy I want to leave, like there are so many words that come to mind. I want to leave a legacy of love, and opportunity. Like I said, growing up in the inner city, there weren't many opportunities for me playing ball. I had to go outside of the city. I want to create something in the city and revitalize the community sports, our aspects, because we have so many talented athletes that come from my high school. I went to Cass Tech, number one, second to none. And, like we just breed so many amazing, skilled individuals. And I want to make sure that all those individuals have a path to success. Like I said, an easier path. I go back and talk to the kids whenever I can, just to give them little insights and tidbits to set them ahead that I didn't have. I wish I had someone in my corner like me to come and just show love and to give information to them willingly.
Absolutely. And I appreciate the insight and information you dropped today during our conversation. And I want to play a quick game of rapid fire with you. First up, and then you can pick it's a this or that money edition, credit card or debit cards.
Oh, for what? Just in
Um,
general?
just overall?
That's a tough question. All right. I'll have to say debit cards, but credit cards are very useful in certain situations. You just have to know how to utilize credit cards. Some
That
people will
part.
get credit cards and go buck wild with them. And, they know how to control it. You want to keep your utilization under 30%. So a third of whatever your total credit limit is. You keep it under a third of that, you are in good standing. There are certain credit cards who give you cash back for spending at different places. If you can get cash back, I say do it. Right? Take the free money, but make sure that you pay it off in that 28-day cycle. Not 30 days, but 28 days. Pay it off in 28 days, you don't have to worry about interest.
All right, next up, stocks or real estate?
Ooh, those are the two easiest ways to build wealth in America. I have to say both. A great combination of having a stock portfolio and a real estate portfolio is the easiest way to build wealth in America. You can always make sure your family has a place to stay when needed, and they always got some money in their pocket because of the stock market. So
All right, so this next one for you: save money for vacation or invest in business?
save money for vacation or invest in business. My wife will tell you I always invest in my business, but for me, I'm saving for vacation. I always
Fair.
want to, take some time, but a little bit of both.
Makes sense. Fair enough answer. 6 month emergency fund or six-figure portfolio?
6 month emergency fund because you never know what's going to happen. And then once you have 6 months of your emergency fund, then we can talk about the 6 figure portfolio.
For sure. And buying the dream car or investing that money elsewhere. And I know you mentioned
Mm,
your brother's car earlier.
dream. Okay, so you have to be able to you have to be able to like defend your purchase. Like if you put all of your ducats into this dream car, you are tying up all of your money to a depreciating asset. Now, if you have free leisure money that maybe your business has paid you, it's done really well this year, and you want to treat yourself, then I say go and buy a dream car. I'm all about being able to enjoy the luxuries of life, but enjoying them at the right time. You don't want to jump out and buy your dream car and then you can't buy nothing else, right? You're gonna be sleeping in it. Okay, so you just gotta make sure that your order of operations is in the right in the right order.
Absolutely, following the best process for you and your family for sure. All right, so lastly, financial freedom in your 30s or luxury living in your 50s?
Financial freedom in my 30s. I'm shooting, I'm shooting to have everything in my 30s and 40s. By the time I'm 50, I want to be on an island somewhere because I've done things the right way, and then coming back and showing my city some love.
Absolutely, most definitely. Andre, thank you so much for joining us. Before you get out of here, be sure to let everybody know where to connect with you if they're interested in seeking further financial services and where they can follow you online as well.
Thank you so much, Ty, for having me. As you see, my Instagram is blessedbell8. If you wanted to call my office to get on my books, you can just call this number 248-356-6555. Again, that's 248-356-6555. ELE Wealth Management. We are based in Southfield, Michigan, right across the street from the original Pancake House on 10 Mile in Southfield. Yes, if you know this area, you should know that's a great breakfast spot, man. Come on, we'll go have breakfast on me, and we can talk about our strategy for you.
Absolutely. Andre, again, thank you so much for joining us. I'm looking forward to connecting with you and continuing to have these types of conversations and providing that insightful information to our audience. So, again, thank you again for joining us. And I hope you enjoy the rest of your evening.
Thank you for having me, Ty. You guys have a blessed evening. God bless you.
Absolutely. Y'all are watching Ty's Take Today live. We do this every Thursday and Sunday. Coming up next, I am going to actually add our next guest, who we're going to be talking about his story as a creative as well as his most recent project. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and add our second guest to the virtual platform. How's it going? Thank you so much for joining us, Karl.
Hey, what up, though?
What's going on? I just want to say thank you again for joining us and sharing some of your journey with us and our audience this evening. I really want to talk about, your what really inspired you to be a visual storyteller and performance artist. And, was there any moment in your life where you were like, this is my passion, this is my purpose?
Well, try to make it as exciting as I can. Um, I essentially just grew up watching a lot of movies and listening to a lot of music, and the people that I listened to and watched, and the movies and content that I watched is what influenced me most. So a lot of recognizable names. A couple. You got your Prince and your Michael Jackson style artists and visual stories, and that's what influenced me, I think, the most. And then just other aspects of art too, like the filmmaking side. um there's some literature there that I'm influenced by. So just a good story is what our whole world is kind of framed around. Our everyday life, we're all attracted to a good story. So I don't know. That's what really kind of gets me going, is being able to kind of like spin my wheels that way.
Absolutely. And I know you just mentioned some of your musical inspirations and, with your visuals and lyrics and just that overall energy being really cinematic and raw. How for you as an artist do you balance vulnerability with, as well as, with maintaining that confidence when it comes to your music and your creative projects?
Balancing vulnerability. I don't know. I think I just you know when you create, if you're a creative, it comes from a usually an honest or pure place. So um, the the effort there is to try to keep it that way and not dilute it with too much. So that's the challenge. You want to be well versed enough in your craft to where you know what tools to use or have access to help you be as authentic as possible. And I think that um, that's why it's so important to do it as often as you can, because the more you do it, the better you are at being able to express yourself in an authentic way. And I think that's really what resonates with people. So with this new song that's going to come out on the 28th, that I believe this is my most authentic song and expression, artistically, visually. Um, I think it's the best or the most authentic that I've ever done.
Absolutely. And speaking of the new project, I know we have a few little clips that we're going to share. So we're going to go ahead and share those really quickly, and then I do want to dive more into that project and what you've currently been working on. So I'm
Sweet.
going to go ahead and share that first clip with our audience now, and then let me actually go ahead and turn the.
That make you stare.
All right, so there's a quick little teaser, and then I do know we also have one more visual for you all. So I'm going to go ahead and share that second one as well, and then we'll go ahead and talk about it as well. So while that is playing, if you want to go ahead and, let's talk about it. So like you said, the project is called Stare. And for you, what does that title mean to you? And what was the catalyst for that creation and the story behind this vision?
Well, is it? Let me ask you this: is it a way you can? There's like a double picture there. Is it a way you can flip to the other one?
Yes, I can go ahead and get that other one up on the screen. Bear with me one moment. So if you want to go ahead and
Yeah.
I'll swap that out really quickly, and then you can
Okay.
continue to talk about it.
Well, the title of the song, it's a single. The title of the song is Stare, Stare. And if you were to really kind of like sit with that word, um, all of the connotations that go with that, that's really what I'm gonna be exploring with that word stare. As it relates to the song, the song is an expression from me of the people and moments in my life that I wish I could hold, or whatever the object of your affection is. It could be It could be a grandmother, it could be a child, it could be an animal, it could be a work of art, it could be a love interest. But the whole point is, the theme is, this is a moment, this is a person that you wish you could stare at. And with life, I think the longer you live, you realize that moments are really fleeting, that people go away, people pass away. I want to give a shout out and prayers to your mom and your family for what you guys are going through, and just continue improvement in that area. I hope all goes well. But the people that we love are what make life beautiful and full. Things are great, but that's really what you want, and that's really what the essence of the song is about.
Absolutely. And I just want to say thank you for that. That's very meaningful to my family and myself. So thank you for that. And I really do appreciate that. So for you, do you see Stare evolving into like a series or more visual projects or merchandise or aside from this project, there's an upcoming event as well, correct?
Yes, there is. Yep.
Absolutely. So I'm going to actually go ahead and drop that flyer that you shared with us. Can you tell us a little bit more about the event? And I know if people that are watching right now, if they see that
Yeah.
graphic right there,
Screenshot that.
most definitely, if you guys are looking for something to do on May 28th at 7 p.m., um, that's your guys' ticket in. So we're giving you guys an exclusive here on Ties Take Today Live. Make sure, like Karl said, a screenshot that. That's your invite. So Karl, what can people expect from that event? Of course, it's going to be a great time. And then, do they just need to show this graphic during during check-in when they come to the event?
Yeah. They can show it, or they, based off who's there, they may be able to just walk in because they'll have knowledge that it's happening and they'll know. But Della Hamby, she is from Detroit, and she has been mostly well known for dancing with Chris Brown in all of his stage tour shows. She's danced with Beyonce. She's performed with artists like, I don't know if you know who Dawn Richards is, who formerly of Danity Kane. Um, they're a part of this collective, and Della is beautiful, and we're showing her in a very different light in this. She's actually doing a lot of acting in the videos, kind of like a short film type thing. But we're having like a really dope showing of that at High Society Lounge on Livernois. That's what that is for. And there's gonna be some really cool people there. Um, we're gonna play this song, have some great laughs, good time, show the video, and chop it up and just like make it a moment.
Absolutely. And we'll also be sure to post the graphic on our social media platforms. Shout outs to our first guest, Andre, who's in backstage and the virtual here on StreamYard. He was just screenshotting the graphic too. So shout outs to
Yeah,
Andre.
it's
Um,
hard not to. It's hard not to.
it's definitely going to be a good time, but I want you to, if you can, or if you don't mind, can you walk us through like a typical creative day for you, when it comes to your writing process or the visuals? Do you have like a routine that you go through, or does it really just depend on the song or the project or the emotions you want the audience to feel when they see your work?
My process is evolving as I learn how to use AI more. Um, my process is evolving because now I have an assistant, which is my beautiful virtual AI software program in my phone. um, because my head is full of ideas, and when you asked me about stare before and like all of the visual interpretations, there's actually an experience, a full experience that I'm crafting. It's not just going to be the song or the video that we're going to see, but there's also four different videos that are going to come out in succession. I have a 6-week marketing plan that is going to roll out, and there's going to be a dance version, dance challenges, there's going to be a stare challenge where you have to stare at a person for a certain amount of time, and you know how that game goes. um, so it's just going to be fun stuff. And then there's also an app that I'm working on developing where you can touch a button on your phone and the other person who has the phone feels the vibration. And basically what I'm trying to do is trying to leverage the idea of stare into connectivity across borders, like beyond being physically present, like being able to reach out and touch a person in a lot of different ways. So there's that, and then there's also a short film that I wrote. So there's a lot of stuff that I'm going to keep working the song with coming up.
Absolutely. So you actually just answered my next question, which is, forthcoming and up and coming projects. For you, I know, we talk a lot about mental health, and I say this during every episode. No matter who we're interviewing, we're always talking about mental health. So for you, as an artist, like you said, that it has this mind full of, all of these different ideas and projects that you want to do. For you, how do you protect your mental space when it comes to being a creative and then an independent creative?
I would say I am big on simplicity. One of my favorite forms of um, space, meaning dwelling space or space to create in, is minimalist design. So there's a rule of thumb that I follow with like the design of like in my house is like I can only have 3 pieces of furniture per room. Um, what I like to do is I like to clear my make I start from a blank canvas as much as possible because there's so much noise in the world. It's important for me to quiet things, quiet myself, quiet my mind, because you want to be able to hear the most pure, honest voice from within yourself, and it's hard to hear that if you got a lot of noise in your head and a lot of like stuff going on. So I try to like sometimes when I'm driving, I don't listen to anything. I'll just drive and let the silence speak to me, if that makes sense.
Absolutely, and I noticed that you're enjoying the weather during this live. So I think just like you said, being present in the moment and enjoying our surroundings, whether that's going for a walk or journaling, trying to find that balance in whatever avenue that works for you. It may not work for other people, but finding that healthy balance is so important. Before we get into our rapid fire game, I do have one last question. What advice would you give to other creatives out there that are navigating both the pressure to perform and the need for healing at the same time?
Those are two very heavy questions. I'm gonna try to say um, nothing is easy. Um, whether you're a creative or not, I personally believe that we all have the potential to create something. Whether you make it a career of your life or not. But don't be discouraged. Don't doubt yourself. Do as much as you can to instill um, your own security, your own self-awareness, know yourself, and above all, number one, know what you want. Like, ask yourself before you do anything else in life what you want, because that one singular idea is going to guide you through every single thing, every decision you make.
Most definitely, Karl Kingston. Thank you again. Before you get out of here, I do want to play the quick game of rapid fire. So let me go ahead and throw that graphic up really quickly. All right. So first off, what is the
Start
if you had to describe your artistry with one emoji, what would it be?
fire.
If you could work with any other creative artist or talent, who would it be and why?
Oh, oh my God. I want to I want to say Kanye West, but yeah, I'll just say that.
For sure. If your life or your talent had, like, if you could have any walkout song that played every time you entered a room, what would it be?
Walkout song.
Yeah, like our anthem.
Oh, Don't Stop Believing by Journey.
That is so funny. My mom used to have that as her ringtone forever. So I had bought her tickets one year to go see it. I think it was for her birthday. But I was like, Mom, can we
Oh,
change the song? I mean, I love the song, but
yeah, yeah.
it was her
Yeah.
ringtone for years.
I'm gonna throw you another one. Queen. We are champions by Queen.
For sure. Where what if you had to pick one color that best describes your creative process, what color would you choose?
Black.
If you could, all right, so this one has to be quick. Describe your project Stare using only 3 words.
Passionate, honest, and eternal.
I like that. I love that. Lastly, if your life was a performance piece, what would the title be?
Love.
Absolutely. And then, of course, Carl, I just want to say again, thank you so much for joining us. And we're going to also go ahead and share that graphic one last time for those that may be tuning in live a little late and need to watch the rest of our conversation later. Um, but for those that are interested in going to that event, it's happening on May 28th, 7 p.m. at the High Society Lounge off of Livernois in Detroit. So once again, Karl Kingson, Della Hamby, go ahead and use this graphic, or like Carl said, you may just need to mention it, or that's going to be the
Yep.
event for sure. And we'll also share it on all of our social media platforms. Before we get out of here this evening, Carl, go ahead and let everybody know once again where they can connect with you, so that they can stay up to date on all of the creative projects that are dropping and soon to be dropping.
Okay. Well, for now, I would say follow me on Instagram. It's KX King Son. Thank you for showing that. That's primarily will be the space, or Karl Kingson on Facebook. But the Instagram is the best. We're gonna expand into other forms, but for right now, I would say that.
Absolutely. Again, we are looking forward to the event that's going down, and hopefully, we can have you back on the platform, of course, to continue sharing all the projects and the creativity that you're rolling out.
For sure.
Absolutely. Again, visual storyteller and performance artist Karl Kingson, thank you again for joining us. I hope you enjoy the rest of your evening, and we'll be talking again soon.
Sure. Be blessed. Bye, everybody.
Absolutely. All right. So y'all are tuned into Ty's Take Today Live, and that is going to do it for tonight's episode. But of course, we already are planning and working on all the episodes for June and July. So that being said, I do want to let you all know what you can expect. Coming up on this Sunday, we are talking to filmmaker and actress Dee Pauline. So we're going to be talking about her journey, and then I'm excited for all 3 of these conversations. Let me be clear, but I'm super excited to be talking to George Latham IV. He is a 10-year-old author, youth leader. He has been working with the Detroit Pistons. He's incredibly talented. If you guys follow him on social media, he's been doing like pop-up book events and signing autographs, and he has 2 different books out. So I'm super excited to be talking to him. We're going to be also talking to Christy Love, who she goes by the name of Mindset. She is the Mindset Coach, and she is also the founder of Thoughts Become Things. So we're continuing this conversation on mental health, especially with this month being Mental Health Awareness Month. So we're looking forward to those conversations that are happening on Sunday. And then Thursday, the 22nd, we are talking to nonprofit founder Scrap Soils to talk about how their organization is making a difference when it comes to that industry, as well as artist Ricky Blanding. And then closing us out, we're going to be talking to Darian Watson, who is a therapist. So we're going to be talking and closing the mental health conversation. And we're looking forward to those conversations. So if you guys want to know who's coming up on the show, be sure to, once again, follow us on all social media platforms, and be sure to subscribe to us on YouTube. Of course, Instagram at It's Ty's Take Today, Facebook.com/It's Ty's Take Today, YouTube. Be sure to tell a friend to tell a friend to tell their friend to tell their family to subscribe to us on YouTube as we continue to grow and build our audience and following on there. And of course, TysTakeToday.com. That being said, closing us out, I've been starting the show, I've been closing the show. We're going to continue to do it. shout outs to my beautiful mom, who is currently going through some health matters, but she is getting better daily. And she's super excited to be on the path to return home after rehab. And I miss you. I love you. I can't wait to see you. And like I said, shout outs to everybody that has been checking in with me and my family, praying for her. And all of these episodes and all of the work that I do continue to be dedicated to my mom, and to be able to be the person that I am today. I love you, and that's going to do it for tonight's episode. Also, if you're looking for something to watch this evening, Detroit After Dark: Power in Politics is dropping late night tonight at 11:30 p.m. Eastern, and I'm going to be having the chance to sit down with Denzel McCampbell, who is currently running for City Council District 7 in Detroit. So Detroit After Dark: Power in Politics is a conversation where we really zone in on candidates that are running for office for city council, mayor, and state representatives, and really not only talk to them about their campaigns and the issues that are impacting their communities, but also really breaking down the basics of what a governor is responsible for, what your local city council representative's job entails, what the different lawmakers in fields, what their responsibilities are, and really helping the public, form their own thoughts and votes on different topics and opinions and issues that are important to them in their communities. So that's going to do it for tonight's episode. We'll see you guys right back here tonight, 11:30 p.m. Eastern. Detroit After Dark: Power and Politics is going down. We'll see you all then, 11:30 tonight.